You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Coming to Northeast Wisconsin live from the Civic Media Studios, this is Maino and the Mayor.
Begin the day with a friendly voice, a companion unobtrusive.
And here are your hosts, John Maino and Jim Schmidt.
And the magic music makes your morning mood.
Hey, thank you very much. Welcome back. Maino and the Mayor here on a Wednesday morning. Special thanks to Nick Slepsky, Farmers Market, Cheese Curd Nick. He will be in action this afternoon starting at 3 o'clock on Broadway Street, the very first Farmers Market of the year. And you know what? We were talking about how nasty it was out there. We just had two ladies walk in, Jessica, and they're just wearing like tank tops and shorts. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's like 74 out here right now.
20 years in the military. They're tough. They're tough. We're wimpy here.
And Jessica's, I'm from Alaska. I can handle this. Hello, we're going to Jessica 1 and Jessica 2. Jessica Williams and Jessica George. How you doing, ladies?
Doing great. Thanks for having us on the show.
This
Really
is
appreciate
so
it.
awesome.
Yes,
this is a local combat veterans segment. Veteran Salute, brought to you by the Olson Legal Group. Well, go ahead, whoever wants to jump in first, and let's talk a little bit about the wonderful things that you guys are doing for female veterans, which I think never get enough credit. So whoever would like to jump in, you go right ahead and talk about the great things.
Great. Yeah, we're really excited to serve the local community and help women veterans understand like their commitment and their connection to each other and to the community. So we do a lot of speaking. This just last couple of weeks ago, we did a kind of a meet and greet question and answer situation with the Little Chute High School, which was an incredible meeting. And we got to meet some really great people, and we reached out to a lot of women. And we also have a focus in sort of development and leadership and helping women understand that they can make the world around them a better place. And we also explain a lot of things about how veterans interact with their communities and what they can expect if they decide to join the military, especially when we talk to younger women.
Is that a little bit of your goal then? Is a little bit of a recruitment, or is it more education?
No, it's just educational purposes. We're not interested in trying to persuade anyone. We just want to kind of share our stories, sort of the good, bad, and the ugly, and let people know what it was like being a female in the United States military. Air Force for me, Army for Jess.
For me. Yep. You know, every time I speak, I always mention this. I swear, every time. We don't give the female enlisted enough credit. We just don't, because when my little trips overseas, they were outside the wire. They were going into little villages in Baghdad. They were working with the civilians in a way that the men could not. And I saw it firsthand. The women and the kids wanted nothing to do with the guys, but as soon as the female soldier walked in, they would run up. They were an armful of kids hugging and things like that. And they got so much more information in doing it that way than the men could. Wouldn't you guys agree?
I would agree with that. What do you think, Jess?
Yes.
Yep. I think it's a really important aspect of kind of female involvement in the military, not just in the military, but I think in humanity in general. The human side of women is a little bit easier to, I think, relate to, especially in a softer sense. I mean, it's important
for a kid.
For a kid, for sure.
I thought you were talking husbands.
Whoa. If you're talking to anybody over the age of 21,
I think those guys need a script.
No, I would agree with you that, and if it's human nature or what, but I think children are very attracted to a mother figure. You know?
It's very comforting. But
right.
I mean, there's definitely a time and a place for, a male influence in a child's life. Absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about your experience just in general? You said, 22 years?
22 years, United States Air Force, active duty. I retired in 2018. I was living in Chicago. Traveled the world. I have 4 daughters. 2 of them were born in England.
Oh.
I adopted another one of my daughter's friends, and she's my kid. And my youngest daughter just graduated high school, Appleton West.
Awesome.
And just finishing up raising kids. And I got 2 granddaughters. So my time in the military, I lived in England for a few years. I've been to Afghanistan, Iraq, Kuwait, and Bosnia as far as deployments go. I was a helicopter mechanic in special operations for 15 of my 22 years. lived a life, my hair on fire, traveling around the world and seeing a bunch of stuff. But
Where were you in Iraq and Afghanistan?
I was in northern Iraq at Erbil. Erbil is now an international airport. We've built it up since then.
Okay.
But I was there way before that when it was just a couple of police officers and some chicken wire.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then where in Afghanistan?
In Afghanistan, I was at Bagram, which is the
Big base.
center for the entire operation. So I did a lot of work out there.
Okay, I have to ask you. So when I was over there, middle of the night, 'cause my hooch was right next to this one area that had cyclone fences all around it and a gate that you could not get into this one little place. And I'm not even joking about this. I thought that's maybe where they held detainees.
Sure.
But it wasn't. It's where the special ops guys stayed.
That's where
But
all the snake eaters
Yes,
are.
but it's like it's like you don't even talk to them. They just do their own thing. In the middle of the night, you'd hear a helicopter take off, and right before as the sun was coming up, the helicopter would land. And it's like, don't ask those guys where they've been, what they've been doing. So were those the guys you dealt with?
That certainly. I was maintenance on those types of helicopters, yeah. So we had a very tip of the spear opportunity to be involved in the wartime effort over there.
That's cool.
It was pretty neat.
That's cool. How about you, Jessica?
My story is completely different. Did reserve Army for 9 years and human resources.
432 or?
No.
Okay.
646 Regional Support Group, Training Division in Fort McCoy. I also did career counselor as well as post operations.
Okay.
In 9 years, never deployed. Mine's all been stateside. And that's part of kind of like why we're doing the veteran story is that we each have a story and a different path that took us.
Awesome.
And every veteran that has enlisted has their own reasons of enlisting, as well as whatever direction has taken it.
And maybe things have changed, but I will say this. You said in a deploy or whatever. Once you raise your hand and say you're ready, willing, and able, okay, and they swear you in, whatever you said you wanted to do is 90% out the window, right?
Yes.
I mean, guys that said, I definitely want to go. I want to go to Iraq. And they were at Fort Riley for the entire time. And other people like, man, I just want to get my thing. I'm getting college credits. And they were on the front lines when they were at promise. So isn't that the case? So you just never know once you're in
That's
what's
very
going to
true.
happen.
Very true. I put on my dream sheet when you go through basic training and you get through your tech school where they train you how to do your job.
Yeah.
You can tell them where you want to go as far as being stationed, right?
Right.
So, and I scrawled on the top of my page, no overseas. My first set of orders was to Kadena, Japan.
Exactly.
They were like, "Thank you for playing, but we're going to send you where you
Exactly.
want."
Tell me about your path, Jessica, too. Was some counseling and stateside. Did you go in as a helicopter mechanic? Did you like that when you were a kid in high school, or did they put you to that?
Actually, I got fairly lucky. I went in open general, which meant I went in under the guise of you can make me do whatever you want. So I could, in the Air Force, I wouldn't have been, standing out in the grass with a gun.
Right.
However, I could have had any number of jobs, and I ended up with maintenance. I was pretty mechanically inclined, even from a very young age, and the Armed Forces Vocational Battery Aptitude Test, right? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I remember that acronym. I need to retire. That tests your abilities across a certain number of areas, and they found out that I was pretty good at mechanics. And it actually ended up being an incredible fit for me because I did love working with my hands, and so that job actually ended up being a perfect fit for me. I loved it.
Jessica George, who just spoke, and Jessica Williams in the house right now. Veteran Salute brought to you by Olson Legal Group.
I think we should do more of that, whether they're going into the military or not, with some kids in certain grades, because there's kids that have an aptitude for mechanics, for engineering. We've had engineers in here, and yet their parents, you got to go to college and get a liberal arts degree. It's like, that's not for everybody, and I just think that's awesome that you took the test. And did you take the same test in the Army?
I did. And it's interesting that you mentioned that. I did college first. So I said no way in hell was I going to join the military. So I enlisted after college. And so technically I should have gone as an officer route. And that's why I went in the HR department because everyone just assumes that you're infantry and that your one and only job is to, shoot things. Right. But mine role was more so making sure that the older soldiers were taken care of, that they were getting paid, that their families were taken care of. And so the career counselor role was later on in my career to actually help the soldiers to determine why they should re-enlist.
But another part that you just mentioned, we have a young lady that comes in here, Nicole Stockman out at UW Green Bay. She runs a veteran service office. And she was talking about, she was 21. She wasn't in the military, but she was married to a career military for 21 years. And she talked, like what you said about placement and families and things. She'd get a phone call from her husband and be like, hey, pack up, we're going to Japan.
Wow, yeah.
And, you know what I mean? And it's like, if they didn't have somebody like you Wow.
I'll tell you, being on the ground and in Afghanistan on the ground, Jessica, she was my savior every time, because we had to be responsible for filing our own travel vouchers and taking care of our own pay. We didn't know what we were doing, and we were like, "Man, please, somebody help us!"
Wow.
And Jessica was her particular MOS in the Air Force. We call it an AFSC, but her particular job was the most valuable. In fact, I would always seek her out and say, come, a person in her role, come and speak to my airmen, come and speak to my soldiers and tell them how to manage their stuff, how to manage their career, because it was absolutely instrumental. Sure, we can do the deployment stuff on our heads easily, but the job that's really hard and the one that's really, really behind the scenes is the things that Jessica did. And
mentally, that takes that strain away from the people that got some other serious things on their mind.
Absolutely. When I'm too tired to file my travel voucher because I've been working 18 hours and we're fixing helicopters and I need to have somebody help me through it because I can't see straight anymore,
Yeah.
Jessica's the type of person that I would have definitely leaned on at that time.
And Jessica, that's a great program, if you will, lack of a better word. But coming back, how was your readjustment? Because we have people on here that aren't real happy about the support they got coming back into the civilian life. And you guys seem like you're very well adjusted, but do we have...
we wear it well.
Yes. I think we've all had our own challenges. Interestingly enough, my career was actually helping our service members transition. So previously working for the state and as a National Guard contractor, I actually helped to write resumes and get those service
That's the
members
kind of stuff I'm talking about.
back on track.
Which is important. Let me just throw this out there and tell me, like when we had a guy in here yesterday or 2 days ago, Don Carper, his name is. He's the navigator, we call it Veterans Village, in Alton. And it was shocking at times how these guys would come in who fulfilled their military careers or whatever, but they didn't have a clue on the next step in certain ways. Some of the things we almost take for granted. That was important.
It really,
isn't
really
it?
is important.
And, there's all those programs to get, apples and oranges, but let me just give you an example that I've dealt with prisoners coming back into society because they've been off the grid. I mean, these guys, there's some people that, well, now they know what cell phones are, but you guys are, we assume you're in the loop the whole time, and they come back and they struggle a little bit.
Sure. Reintegration is always a struggle, actually. And it's interesting that you bring that up because my current job is I'm a Reserve Component Transition Assistance Advisor. I work for the government currently. And so my job is to actually make sure people getting out and transitioning and who have questions about their benefits know who to talk to. Because honestly, there's 100 different agencies that you need to talk to about maybe I need to change my retirement. Maybe I want to get a education benefit, and and there's 50 different agencies that you need to talk to, but
and
you
they're
don't
changing,
and they change all the time, and you don't know who to call, and so the questions are always there. So my job is to sift through all of that red tape, jargon, which office you need to see, and find the information that you need, give you that information, and then hook you up with the right offices as a veteran, so that you can utilize all of the benefits. Because we have guys, I'm in the VFW up by where I live up in Tomahawk, and I'm in the VFW. There are guys in the town that should be getting a retirement or a medical disability from their service and have never applied for it, and they're in their 60s, 70s, 80s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
What I think is great, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jessica, is the educational opportunities that they have. It's incredible. And you don't have to study a certain track. You can do anything you want. You go back in horticulture. And I teach at TC, and we're getting more and more people. And it's getting paid for it. No, they got to pass the class and everything. But I just think it's too bad if somebody's sitting there bored. What am I going to do? It's like, well, we'll help you.
yeah,
The cool thing about Wisconsin is actually we're number one in the United States for offering benefits, military benefits.
if you're going to be a veteran, do it in Wisconsin.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
I
this
knew
is
that.
interesting. Jessica Williams, Jessica George, local vets, veteran salute, brought to you by Olson Legal Group. Back with them right after this.
Left a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day, and I never lost a minute of sleep.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Hey, welcome back. Maino the Mayor here on a blustery Wednesday morning. 46 in Green Bay, 45 in Alton, 45 in Oshkosh. Forecast today, breezy. cloudy, windy, showers, high in the mid 50s. But as soon as the farmers market starts on Broadway, 72 and sunny. 72
down there. You bet.
and sunny.
So the music, is that left a good job in the city? That's why we're playing it in honor of these people who left the city and went to the military?
I made it a way back Wednesday today, so it's all older tunes.
Oh,
today.
all right.
Yeah.
We get guests, we start interviewing, and all of a sudden there's a song that usually ties into them. So, but anyway, yes.
Jessica Williams and Jessica George, both United States military veterans, one Jessica in the Air Force, the other in the United States Army. When you have young people, or not even young people, I don't care who it is, some guy at a bar, when he says, tell me something I don't know about female veterans. What do you say?
I would say, like, we bleed blood like everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, they don't realize that how important the role the females play in the military.
That's very true. And I actually was pretty fortunate in my career. Jessica said that she was absolutely helpful and supportive of her troops. That was her capacity. I ended up being a first sergeant for a little while in the military, which was tough because I got to see both the side of the person and of the soldier and the airman, and then I got to see the side of the person who struggled through things, had the same problems as everybody else. Their wife left them, or they've got a lot of debt, or they're in trouble with the law or whatever. And I saw that side of them too, and had to help them in both those capacities, which was really great. So Jessica and I are kind of similar in that way. She did that like kind of a lot more in depth, but I did that for a brief period of time in the military.
I can see you guys both being good at that. You don't seem real rigid to me. You know what I mean? Like, right?
And if you ask my daughters, they might have something else to say about that.
Once you put the uniform on, I don't know.
It changes you a little. Or maybe that's what it is. You guys are casual. You stayed for 22 years. I mean, something must have called you to do that. That's a long time, quite honestly.
Yeah, actually, the military's been in my family for a long time. My grandfather was in World War II.
Wow.
He followed Patton up through Germany.
Wow.
Yep, and he a lot of not so awesome stories, but a lot of really great ones as well. And
He passed away. I would
He
imagine.
did. He
Okay.
just recently, actually, just
No
2
kidding.
years ago.
Wow.
96 years old.
Oh, man, I would love
Served
to have
well,
met him.
got a field commission. Very decorated, great service to his country, sure. And my dad was in during Vietnam. Wow. My brother spent 4 years in during the Gulf War, and then it was my turn, so I stepped up and did the same thing.
What did you end up rank-wise?
I was an E7.
Okay,
So
nice.
pretty good non-commissioned officer.
Absolutely.
Yep. I really enjoyed the military, and a lot of people ask me often, why did I join? And that's a very common question. And,
Yeah, I bet.
And sometimes I wish I could say I want to travel, want to see the world. But truthfully, it was, I really wanted
Legacy.
to serve my country. That really was it.
Wow.
I think that's the bottom line for that last second before you sign the dotted line. Wouldn't you say, Jessica?
Yes, 100%.
I mean, that really is, and you have to have that.
Sure. I mean, you're writing a blank check.
Right.
Yeah. Right? You can cash this up into my life, please.
Yeah, recruitment is down a little bit and everything but the Air Force. Israel, kids got to do it after high school for 2 years. I mean, I don't get political here. I'm just curious what you thought, because we do need good people, defending our country and working in so many. There's just so much more than just the infantry, right? There's just, like you talked about, HR.
We had a
So many
basketball player
jobs.
here at Green Bay. He was from Norway, and they had the country of Norway.
They do that
They
too?
had to do 2 years.
In my personal, opinion, I would almost wish that America would be like other countries where it was a obligation that you had to give 2 years. Mostly because you get the structure, you get the same norms and the values and the brother-sisterly vibe and like protecting one another, and just kind of more of a basic, where I feel like just in civilian life, everyone's kind of for each his own.
They're floating.
Yes,
well, no, they're
disconnected.
floating, whereas there's structure. You guys come out of a structured environment and reporting, and that's healthy for someone to just know it, whether they want to live that. I just think there's so much more than, like you said, just the combat side. I mean, you talked about the camaraderie, and kids at 19 years old, I think that's a good thing.
There's that
agree.
leadership. There's
Right.
the strategic planning. There's that process, and like there's steps of exactly what direction you're going to go. Which is why normally the transitions are hard, because in the civilian life it's kind of like, well, whatever this company does is different than this company. But in the military, regardless of what branch you're in, you actually are kind of following the same rules for the most part.
I think, Jessica, I totally agree with you. And I think a 2 year, I don't know about 2 years, but it's a long time.
Yeah, I know.
I think it would be
What are people-
At least basic training.
I think it would be really great for people to, because it really builds the self. It helps with us identity. It helps with your humanity. It helps us be more connected as people when we can have a common goal and work towards something together, even if it is just a 2 year hitch for a common goal to protect the safety and peace of your nation.
I was working on a chapter for my new book last night, and this guy was in the Marines. And for whatever reason, the biggest, toughest drill sergeant had something. He thought had something against me, and he would always make him carry the heaviest guy. We put it around the shoulders, and he's like, my leg physically, I couldn't do it, but I did because that guy was right alongside me the whole time. And he said at the end of boot camp, he said, I knew I was going to get kicked out of the Marines, but this guy was so mean to me. At the end, I went to his thing. I wanted to punch him just once. I didn't care if I went to the brig. He'd made my life so miserable. We sat down in the bunk, and when I walked out of there, I thank God that I had this guy in my life, because I realize now when I go to Vietnam how horrific it's going to be. If he hadn't tested me and took me beyond what my mind told me I could do, I never would have made it.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. I'm interested to hear about your book for sure. That's why I stayed in the military as long as I did, because I ended up crossing over and becoming that mentor, that leader, that somebody that was right beside a lot of my airmen, kind of cheering them on and giving them kudos and helping them reach their goals. And that was where I found meaning in my life. So,
I bet your language was better than the DI in 1966, though.
I don't know. I was special operations and that was maintenance. We'll see.
The other thing is that it's so important that people learn to work as a team. And we don't have a lot of that. That's being very, very important to companies, but very important in schools that we work as teams now, because there's diversity, and there's so much more when,
come together.
Right, when the whole is so much greater than the sum of its parts. So
absolutely.
That's
connection,
great.
Human connection is
right. Jessica Williams, Jessica George, thank you so much, and do me a favor, come back again.
Would love
because I
to.
feel like we're just scratching the surface in a certain way on females in the military, and I think it's something that really, really needs to get as much sunshine to it or light to it, whatever you want to call it, as humanly possible.
Would love to.
I still think it's an undertold story.
Thank you
Thank
for the
you both
invite.
so very, very
Thank
much.
You. Thank
Very
you.
much.
Quick break. Back after this.
Searching for something to say. Flashing lights against the sky.
Got something to say? Text Maino and the Mayor directly through the Civic Media app. Download the app, choose your station, WISS or WGBW, then hit the talk button in the lower right-hand corner and text the studio directly. Now, back to Maino and the Mayor. Here's John Maino and Jim Schmidt.
Hey, thank you very much. Welcome back. Man, what some great guests right there. Jessica Williams, Jessica George, a couple of local veterans. Veteran Salute brought to you by the Olson Legal Group, talking about the female version, or not version, a female aspect and outlook of being in the military. I want to get them again.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Wow.
Did they bring you the cookies that were out
No,
there?
that was Cheese Curd Nick.
Oh, okay.
Cheese Curd Nick.
Right.
He's
So
going to
we did-
have his thing set up today right across the river from you guys. He's
All
going to be
right.
set up with his cheese curd stand
Very
on Broadway.
nice.
Have some cookies. We tested them. They're good.
Yeah, no.
There's not a problem. We were a little worried about it because we.
Jim was actually a little disappointed.
We know. Yeah. We.
They weren't
Come on,
special
Nick.
cookies.
Yeah. I'll hold out for the cheese curds.
Yeah.
It was the first. It was the first thing I asked him when he handed me a cookie.
I
I'm
know.
like, "Are these safe?"
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. At least they weren't brownies.
Question.
Right.
Brownies are always more suspicious.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then-
That
and
Indiana Malcor in the house.
And you know Nick. So even when he says they're safe, we're like.
But I'll tell you one thing that probably proves they're safe. He's lost 47 pounds.
Oh my God.
Really?
Yeah.
Tapeworm.
And think about
Gotta be. 'Cause think what he does for a living.
what he does for a living is he deep fries
Yeah.
cheese curds and he cooks the best burgers and brats.
Oh,
You know, of
okay.
course, I know you guys have had
And
those.
those
but-
Nathan hot
yeah.
dogs.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
love a good Nathan hot
Yeah.
dog.
love
He,
that dog.
It's
Yeah.
anyway. He looks great, and it's all working for him. So
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
So you know if those cookies had anything else in them, he wouldn't have lost 47 pounds.
right.
And we're not talking about the extra couple of calories. Benediana Malcor in the house. How you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Yeah,
Not loving
doing
this
good.
weather.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Mother Nature could refresh our memory on what fall looks like.
Well, we talked last week that, sometimes the weather does influence people getting out of the house. And
You know,
working
I
in a
think
house.
it does. You know, we had an open house last night at the home that we have listed on Humboldt, 10 acres right in
Yeah.
town.
Right.
Pond.
With the pond, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but it's rainy. So we did have a nice family stop by who was very interested. But things are quiet when it's raining. Everybody kind of hunkers down
They
and
just do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's gloomy too. That doesn't help.
Unless you bring a Packer, because it's crazy what we'll do for a Packer game, and everybody, 80,000 people stand in line, and yet
Right.
any other event, it's just it's a no show.
Yeah,
It just,
yeah.
Anyway,
So maybe we'll have to see if there's just some Packers.
There you
around
go.
That
Right.
want
Yeah.
to talk.
Yeah.
get that Jordan Love guy in the living room.
That would bring them up. For
I'm not sure that's our budget. I think we're more of a practice squad type budgetary.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you hearing out there? I mean, we talk a lot about people who are buying homes are sometimes a little bit older. We always talk about first-time buyers, but right now it's people who are 55 are kind of looking to, redesign their life.
Yeah. Kind of right
Right
side.
Into a ranch.
Yeah.
Into a ranch.
Into a ranch.
Absolutely.
I know.
With that
Everybody-
nice zero entry shower.
I know. Yeah, those
Right.
ranches
Yeah.
are perfect.
Yeah.
They're perfect for everybody. But yeah, I think it's, right now, I think we're starting to feel, especially with the first time home buyers, since you brought it up, a little bit of buyer fatigue.
We are.
I think we've got a lot of, I know our buyers, when they find these homes that they like, but there's now like 11 offers, 15 offers again on these homes. And it's tough. It's, you get really tired really fast.
You grind.
Yeah.
You
There was
grind.
even one that we had shown in Alloway, structurally a nice home, just hadn't been updated.
Needed a
in
lot of cosmetic
probably
work.
35, 40,
At least,
maybe
yeah.
even 50
Yeah.
years. And, the flooring was starting to come up. 11 offers on that home.
Yeah.
11 offers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy right now.
I was talking to a guy last night, lives in Chicago, his son's 25, and he was just, it's everywhere. There's just, they haven't kept up with the building. I mean, and he's like, is this going to change? I'm like, he doesn't want his kid living in an apartment because you're not building equity, and I would agree with that. But on the other hand,
let me ask you something. You're always talking about building things and businesses and yada yada, and we got all this land. Doesn't it seem like somebody would say, I'm going to take 10 acres and I'm going to build all these houses with
Quarter
zero,
lots.
you know what I mean? As far as walk-in, everything,
Starter homes.
no
Sure.
steps. Wouldn't that go over big?
You would think that it would, but here's the issue that I think we run into a lot, and I think when you're right sizing, when you're downsizing, and you're looking at, okay, we've got this huge house that we don't want to take care of anymore, or it's 2 stories, and we're trying to find that ranch home or those zero entry kind of homes. They're more expensive than the house that you have, and so it's really hard for those buyers that, those sellers, potentially sellers and buyers, to move from a payment that is much smaller than a payment that they're going to have, or maybe no payment. And so it's really hard to move into something that's smaller but costs more.
If I had a mortgage paid off, I wouldn't think I'd go to the gas station. I would
just hunker down.
You
I'm
talk
gonna
about your
die in
house
this
being your
house.
castle,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
If there's no mortgage, oh my gosh, I'd
Just
never
have
leave.
soup for every meal.
Absolutely.
but I do think that has to happen. The municipalities have to get involved. So let's say you buy 60 acres of land and, quarter lots, whatever you want to do. That's a lot of houses, but there's a lot of infrastructure to that. Sewer, water, and the city's got to pay for that. They got to say, we'll do that for you as long as you build these, because once you got families living there, it's good for the schools, it's good for the tax base, it's good for the labor force. But, you got to step up because it's expensive. I mean, I just want to say in their defense, it's expensive to build. And, the city's going to have to take on debt for that, but you got to bank on them because they don't really TIF residential, tax increment financing. They don't really do that for residential. And that I think that needs to happen.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm sure, with everything that the developers do.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would really appreciate it.
Well, and they're not so much.
I'm sure they're anxiously listening for our advice.
Well,
I know, right?
But as much as these guys are entrepreneurs, they're not the biggest risk takers I've ever met.
Well,
that's why they're building apartments now versus condos or starter homes.
I would say that they're in that you've lived and you've learned category.
Maybe that's it.
You've done it before. You know where you don't take your risks
you're
anymore.
Right. You're right. Because it can change so fast, huh?
Yeah. But I agree with you. Just having like older community, all ranches, kind of zero inch. Heck, it worked at the villages.
What if you would do that style, and then what if you would offer a little weed garden? We're thinking of doing a Tuck and Baronet.
Would you let him know it's still illegal in the state of Wisconsin? What he's talking about is illegal, and he could go to the big house
didn't let me finish.
and be somebody's
He didn't
friend.
let me finish.
So
he didn't let me finish.
So the mayor has been fired. It is
Mine on the Melkor.
That's what I was going to say.
My dreams coming true.
Absolutely.
I mean,
explain.
I didn't want Jim to get fired.
No, look, I can make a hell of a lot more doing that than I am working here. So
that's
the incentive I
get
need.
in prison. You ever watch a TV show? It has been on in years.
I love it.
Crossing out the mirror.
I'll work on
Did you ever
the
see the
logo.
TV show Arrested Development?
Oh yeah. Love it.
Oh,
little bit.
Love it.
So
Yeah.
good.
The guy, the real estate developer, who ended up going to prison because of you would be that guy in prison, still dispensing to these hardcore criminals, dispensing advice to them.
That's what you gotta do.
Even though you
what
were
you
in
need.
prison for doing those things. If you guys could build a house, if somebody said, "I'm donating,"
Oh my God.
3 acres, but you guys have to build a house that you know would be really popular. What would you guys design? What would you guys build?
Ranch, 100%
Yeah,
ranch,
100%
zero
a
And
ranch.
you build 12
What?
of them. You just
Yeah.
make them quarter-acre
Yep.
lots. And
Yeah.
You wouldn't build one house on 3 acres. That's a waste of opportunity.
Actually, even a third of acre is pretty much a lot, isn't it?
Well,
is.
that's
Yeah.
a nice size lot.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
that's a nice size
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a quarter's too small.
Yeah.
But I just think that kind of stuff has to happen. You talk about the villages, and you're joking about it. I mean, is there anything more successful than
No,
that?
exactly.
You got
Exactly.
something going on. I don't know what it
my
is, but it
gosh.
works.
Man, does it
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
continue. What you guys would do to design it?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think you've got to go. I mean, if we're doing a few of them, you've got to do a little sampling of just about every kind of interior. But because interiors are very personalized, you can walk into a white woodwork home and somebody loves it, and the next person is like, ugh. This is out. I like stained wood, So, the cosmetic part of it, don't really know. But you've got to have a ranch home. You've got, if you're going to build something right now that you want to know that it's going to resale no matter what.
Exactly.
What
That you
we're
guys
in.
know after all these years in
Yeah.
the business that you guys absolutely can't miss.
But
Yeah.
you don't want to make it look all the same either. So, like in Nashville,
yeah.
right?
Right.
They have these developments, and you can pick out good, better, best.
Yep.
Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
Colors, but they will not let you deviate. They must have a warehouse full
No.
of good,
Yeah.
better, best.
No.
You say, well, look, I'd like to just
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
These are your 3 choices for windows, doors, color,
Yep.
siding,
Yep.
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
they do that in Minneapolis as well.
Yeah.
And
Quite a
that's
bit.
where you can
Yeah.
really make a little money.
You can, and it's kind of like the condos that we have out in Luxembourg
Right.
across from Northbrook. Is they're really all look, they're the same style, but you can pick out whatever outside
Right.
you want. So
Right.
you're picking
Yeah.
out your color of vinyl, and as long as it's not anything crazy.
Right.
You're picking out your stone. So every single one, when you drive down the street, looks a little bit different,
Right.
even though it's the same style of house.
So
You know what I wish people would realize sometimes? That when they put really bizarre colors on their house, like like we were going to do a thing in Two Rivers, and I swear the neighbors, the quote unquote neighbors there, had such ugly, bizarre doors. They were turquoise.
Yeah, I know.
Out of this normal looking house, these bright, unbelievable turquoise. It's like, I wouldn't want to wake up and look at that ugly door next door to me. I think that spray paint is son
This
of a-
door has really impacted his life.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I think you should pen a letter.
I'd be over there every day with 3 a.m. with a can of spray paint, put a big X on that door every time, every morning.
and the way around that is to get into an association where you can't.
Yeah,
Right.
there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen that home in downtown Sheboygan that's painted in Broncos
yeah.
colors.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
on the
No,
corner.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one in downtown
And it's-
Manitowoc, though, right by that church that's for sale, which I'd like to buy. There's a big, huge
I'd love
church.
to buy an old church.
Yes, there's one
Yeah.
for sale in downtown Manitowoc.
Can I
But-
get an amen?
But, but somebody did a Packer house next door that's all green and gold.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That Denver guy. And he went.
He went
in.
all in.
He
He's
went all
super
in.
committed.
That's not a logo, man. He is all in on that
He's
house.
all in.
And I'm sure his neighbors hate that. But had he
Yeah.
been in an association, like even out here, some shingle roofs. I mean, that's not shingle roofs, cedar.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
expensive.
over by the
right.
Lake
and
Largo?
You want to
Mhm.
live over there.
Yeah.
That's not cheap. But
Yeah.
Right.
the neighbors feel very confident that nobody's going to have vinyl siding next to them. Nobody's going to have
Yeah.
asphalt shingles next to them. And I don't know. There's some comfort in that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think a lot of, people, they don't like those associations. They don't like people telling them what they can and cannot do.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it does keep the values up.
Absolutely.
It does.
Mhm.
It does. It's a win for everybody
No
when you
question.
think about it.
Yeah.
So we got to Ranch House and we all interrupted you. After the Ranch House, your design.
Am I taking this from
Yes!
plan to
Well,
Yes.
first and foremost, let's talk design. I was looking at the planter out in the lobby, and the planter has like 2 weeds, plastic weeds coming
they're
out
plastic,
of it,
okay.
foam
Yeah.
blocks.
No, these are your
with the
lobby.
tank
Yeah, yeah.
still on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this. What are the guys doing? Here? What?
Is that our lobby?
Your
Yeah.
lobby?
Intern.
Yeah.
Go out there, check it out first.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Post a picture to your page. Post a
Ben,
picture. Show
Ben
people.
may have already posted a picture.
Yeah. the
He's
devil.
judging us.
The devil is in the details.
Yeah.
Well, it's been nice having the Melkors.
Yeah. So, hey,
Oh my God, we
Wow.
lost
Down
our
to just
job
John.
already.
one segment you fire the
Yeah.
mayor.
Yeah.
and
Wow.
And John's like,
next.
You're hanging it all on
Everybody with
Maino.
amps is fired today.
Johnny's like, I've been waiting 2 years for this. I finally got my own show back.
Awesome.
What would you, if you're going to build these ranch
Yeah.
homes, what would be the price point?
You'd love to keep them if you could. I mean,
Yeah.
it is
Just don't-
hard. If you could keep them under like 350,
Yeah, I was going to say 350.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right around 350,
Well, I think that
325.
could, I don't know a lot about square foot, but if the infrastructure is put in for you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe you could swing
Yeah.
something down
Yep.
325.
Yep.
Which
Yeah.
And make sure you have the egress and the plumbing in the basement. That's the big thing. If you aren't going to finish the basement, make sure you
That's
have
there,
those things
yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge. People don't realize that you put in that egress window,
Yeah.
even if you're not going to use
Right.
it, for somebody that might buy it then, that
That-
$5,000 or whatever they'd have to put in to do a
Yeah.
new bedroom,
Yeah.
worth it when you build.
Worth
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. Big
100%.
time. Big
We're
time.
with the Malcors. Ben and Deanna Malcor moving with the Malcors. Back with them right after this.
Downstairs, sister's saying in her sleep, brother's got a date to keep, he can't hang around. Our house in the middle of our street, our house in the middle of our...
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Father wears his Sunday best.
And welcome back to Who's Fired Next.
Yeah, I know, right?
Maino and the Mayor.
Yeah.
You're fired.
Did the intern get out and look at those plans? Maybe he's
Yes. Come on.
We'll
sir.
bring you some moss next time.
Yeah, we got it.
I was just going through the other offices to see if I could find anything to throw in there. So,
Ben and Deanna Malcor. This is great stuff with you guys. But let me ask you what you guys have now on the market, what you got
Yeah.
listed, and what you're looking for.
Yeah. So I'll start. We've got a beauty over on St. Mary's Boulevard.
Yep.
We're at
Oh,
490
Alloway?
in Alloway,
it's
499.9.
We talked about that street. Love it.
Impeccable property. Impeccable.
Yeah.
at a
Yeah.
great neighborhood.
In a great neighborhood.
And great space. I mean, it's really nice. I mean, it'd be nice for everyone. But if you have small children, all the bedrooms are together upstairs.
Nice.
So you find a lot where you've got like the master downstairs and all the extra bedrooms upstairs, and that's tough when you have little kids because they want to be on the same floor. So all the bedrooms are upstairs. The primary suite is huge.
It's huge. Yeah.
It's huge, with a cedar walk-in closet and extra closets and a sitting area and a little reading nook, and it's
I'm
crazy.
sure it's got great curb appeal.
It
the
does.
backyard.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Well, those
neighborhood.
boulevards are
They
so
are, yeah.
beautiful,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got booked in, but you got Webster, which you want to get on there and hit either
Right.
way.
Yeah.
And you got Riverside down below, which hit either way. It's a perfect
well, you're
location.
super close to the Fox River Trail too.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you like to walk or bike or skateboard, whatever.
Rollerblade.
I was
You were gonna say rollerblade.
Well,
Rollerblade.
actually, I was going to say roller skating.
Oh, roller
Yeah.
skating.
I couldn't come up with
Very
blade,
good.
and I'm
Very
like, that's going to
good.
sound really old.
Yeah.
And what are your buyers looking for?
Oh my gosh. Everything. Right now we're working with a lot of buyers that are looking 325, 350 and below.
Yep.
And that's a really tough market to be in. We still have our buyer looking up in Door County for waterfront on the bay. So if you have a beautiful home, 4 bedrooms on the bay side or a lake in Door
Sure.
County, they'd be really interested in that. So
Awesome.
reach out to us. But yeah, it's, we've got the home over in Moose Creek Estates.
Yep. Yep.
That
Over
one
by
is still,
Bayport.
we have buyers kind of circling it right
I'm
now.
surprised that one wasn't scooped up right away
Yeah.
being in that
Oh,
school
right.
district.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's a beautiful home. Honestly, I think it's, and I may be biased, but I think it's one of well, it's definitely the prettiest on their street. It's not the largest, but it just has such great curb appeal. They when they built it, they just did
Nice
such an amazing.
touches.
Yeah,
Really
it's
nice
full
touches.
of like reclaimed barnwood.
Oh,
and
neat.
Yeah, really neat stuff.
I've got a garage full of reclaimed barnwood. If you,
Yeah, you could sell it for
Yeah, I
big,
know.
big
I know.
bucks.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. People ask all the time where they can find it.
well, you
so
know what
now
I'm doing?
we'll
well,
give
you
them
know
your
what
name.
You know what I'm building this summer, or not? It's not too hard. I tore a bunch of wooden doors off an old wooden silo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm making coffee tables out of them.
Oh, very
Really?
cool.
Yeah, I got the
Wow.
handles. I got them sandblasted and everything to get all the rust off.
Wow.
Sure.
Putting that on it. So it's pretty cool. If you're
Yeah.
everybody looking for a coffee table
Yeah.
made out of an actual wooden silo door.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's probably 150 years old.
That's super cool.
yeah.
I
That
love
is
stuff
neat.
like that.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
make you one.
I hear,
Yeah.
Fantastic.
All right.
Yeah.
I hear that all the time. I really want to find a table that's an old barn. No, that's unique.
That
people
is
want
It is
unique stuff.
unique.
That's
People
cool.
like
John.
that stuff.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
I don't. But hey, anyway, let's. What else is? So these homes. What
This
else
is
you got?
his last day, so he's
Yeah.
going out.
Yeah,
He's
he's
going
going
out.
crazy.
on a
I got
high.
nothing to lose.
He's not gonna have any. One of my guys said before they left Vietnam, they knew that the South Vietnamese were taken out, so they were told fire off all your ammunition.
Yeah.
He said for 6 days, that's all he did was fire every bit of ammunition. That's what he's gonna do until the
I can do
last day.
get another hour and 4 minutes. All right, so that's cool. What else? Anything else you want to talk about here?
We've got the condos that
right,
are
I like
coming. We've got the condos in Luxembourg, which
Yep.
are they're single family, so it's kind of it's like living in a single family home, which is really nice, and you can custom build them.
And the
we've-
other condos.
And we've got the condos, West Point Center, that are coming right over by the OC.
And those you have a show condo, and then
we have a showroom.
Yeah, we have a
showroom.
there's a
Yeah,
showroom.
Yeah,
and-
so all they need to do is reach out to us. We can meet them over at the showroom,
All right.
and we can walk through the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
So those are kind of hopefully going to be starting this summer, but you want to reserve them now because I think that once they get going, they're going to go real fast.
And I would have to think, I don't even want to talk about this, but interest rates, I think they are what they are.
Yeah.
And nobody sees any weird kind of
Yeah.
thing that's going to knock them either way, right?
No, and we don't hear it a lot from
No,
our buyers.
We
anymore.
don't.
Yeah.
Quite
I think we've all
honestly, it's
accepted
still
it
a
now,
good
right?
rate. It's still a good rate right now.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not anything that I think is I mean, I really don't feel like. I mean, there's a lot of buyers out there.
There are.
We just need more. We need more stock.
We need
Yeah.
more inventory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So if you're thinking about selling, right now is a good time.
How can they get a hold of you guys?
They can call us or text us at 920-495-7653. You can go on Ben's website, which is just benmelcor.com. You can Facebook message us, however.
Yeah.
or
There's many
stop
ways.
in at your lovely new
Yeah,
office.
Yeah.
Yep.
You might want to call us first because if we're not there, the
What is
doors
it?
may be
1200
locked.
block, right?
Yep, it's 1238
1238.
Main Street.
Yeah.
I got to ask, has this whole phone debacle caused problems?
We luckily do not have any cell phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't have we
Yeah.
have not been impacted
Yeah.
at all. But I know I just had an inspection down in the valley yesterday, or 2 days ago, and the inspector he had issues he had to work through.
And
so.
I know people have had a hard time getting a hold of us. So, when it first started, there was this, we can't get a hold of you. You're not answering your phone.
You're not
And
answering your
come
phone.
Right.
Come to
Yeah.
find out it was really on their end and the calls
Right.
It's not
going
me,
through.
it's you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could have been handled better.
Yeah, I think so. They're
Yeah.
a great company.
Oh, I
but
love them. We've been there 30 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we moved from them a couple years ago, and right now we're really happy about it.
My wife's
Yeah.
calling around to get, and they're like, well, we're too busy right now. The
Yeah,
competitor.
I can't
So,
even imagine.
You know what I mean?
Sure,
I just
sure.
want to say it's
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well,
But
wish them the best.
we do.
Yeah.
We do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got great friends that work there, and I
Oh,
can't
we
even
do
imagine
too.
what their days are like these
well,
days.
we kind of sent out one of those, like, we're thinking about you
Yeah.
text to some
Yeah,
of our
to
friends
some of
that
our
work there
friends,
because
yeah.
you just know it's
Absolutely.
people
At
are.
the shelter, we need phones, so we got those burner phones that you can get.
Oh, sure.
We got a couple of those.
Yeah, good. I
Oh,
know.
and my daughter texted me last night, Dad, why won't you talk to me? Or
Right.
something like that. I swear. I will if I can. Ben and Deanna Malker, you guys are so awesome, and it's so much fun having you guys
Thanks
here.
for having
Yeah.
us.
Thank you.
Enjoy
Wow.
Portland.
Yeah, we will.
do.
All right.
All right, check them out. Ben and Deanna Malker, they are the best. Mine on the Mayor, back after this.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.